20th February, 9:23 a.m., the Old Bailey defendants and the chamber. Well, I never expected this. Would have thought that we'd be back here again so soon. I know, 2 days in a row, am I right? Or more like 3 days. So, I think yesterday was detective thing, like doing the detective work. And today, it was just one day apart, huh? We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intentions of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be a life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may be a little crass. I agree with that. Same with the test thing. Like, I don't like it when we were saying we're gonna test. Like, we're doing it as a test. So, well, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Who is it? Good morning! Hey, it is him, okay. Ah, Mr. Natsume! Good morning! I'm gonna move my mic away from me so I can do his voice. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. He hasn't slept at all, has he? The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. Oh, and now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. Oh, that's okay. I appreciate it. I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. You are trembling though, really? Because I can feel tremors in the room. I can't do this. I can't take it. Hello, local student Miss Onahura Esquire. Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people waiting for me. I'm honored, honestly. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. I think he's like, a Japanese man? I knew it. We're gonna go prove it right over. Do you know why that might be, Mrs. Sato? It's because he's a Japanese man. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruto, but I have no idea. She's smiling because of it. She's like, I don't know at all. So, that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me. It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Oh, Lord Van Ziggs. Is that why? I guess he has fans, I guess. I don't know. I'm one of them. I'm just kidding. Is that right, Mrs. Sato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Ziggs is on the front page of every one. I knew it! Sometimes after the prosecutor has dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Huh. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Ziggs' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. What a harrowing experience that was. It wasn't that long, too, so... I believe the appearance made even greater waves here in the capital of London than today's. Wait, what do you mean? But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? No one died! No one died! That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane! Mundane! It's the most significant saga of the century to come to some of us. Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the paper are describing it. On his perspective, yes, it is offensive to say that, but also on the victim and the victim's loved ones too. Because why would you call it mundane? No murder is mundane. No, at all. It's always serious. What the fuck?
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago.
What do you mean by that? You done research of it? Sounds great. Yes, I agree. What do you mean?
Local student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you!
Me? Well, I suppose that's true.
Both times, it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper!
Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that.
Oh, this is just my luck! Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive!
Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you.
Oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry.
Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London with little in the way of experience or skills or luck. But I promise you this. I'll fight your corner until the bitter end. And I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, benevolent locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. My eyes are so red.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side.
Oh, benevolent, non-locum assistant Miss Mikotoba Esquires. Oh, I'm so touched. I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this great kindness. Oh my God, shut up, Mr. Natsume. The counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly to make your way into the courtroom at once.
Oh God, you guys talk too much. Hurry up, we have no time. We are in a hurry, apparently. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go.
Yes!
Okay, calm down, man. I hope he doesn't talk too much, honestly. I can't. My voice isn't cut up for this right now. This is it. My second appearance in the British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Katsuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my kind to the last. Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. I hope you are, Inosuke. I really do hope you are. Because I ain't gonna carry you all the time. I'm just saying. You gotta put your mind into it. 20th February, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Not court record. What the fuck? There he is.
In the name of Her Majesty, the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the consuls for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are truly a fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Susato-san! Ooh. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. Ah, yes, you're right. I'll pull my Kool-Aid again right now. Very true. And most fascinating, if dark, surely it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted, and his unfortunate violent end. You're making a toast to the dead? Really? In that kind of way?
Thank you, consuls. I see both sides are fine and fiddled.
And fine, fiddle.
Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public?
You never know when you might be down on your luck. I believe I'm fair play for everyone. Hey, fair play. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. Oh well, not me. What you see is what you get. A peace-loving fellow. I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible the master foreigner did the deed. Why are you here? Come on! What are you waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Sorry. Didn't quite catch that.
Very well. Let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Hansix.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with the rising power of the Far East. With the Far East, I mean. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Sasuke Natsume. And while our country has extended its foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime? I tell you from a bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath, they are. Well, you've been stabbed or what? Just look at that swallow's complexion of short stature. He's one of the dreadful Japanese. Come on! Let's get this over with! With me now! Everyone! 1, 2, 3! Sorry! Didn't quite catch that. What a colorful bunch they are. But hey! Forgive the discourtesy for smashing my hollow chalice here in the Great Chamber. You threw it, you didn't even smash it. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
Ooh, we're getting Inspector Gregson, are we? Alright now. Your name and occupation, please. Here, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector of Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green.
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be here.
And having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. What? So they don't even know who she is for sure?
Commodores, I see. But her life is not in danger, is it?
Fortunately, the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, I could ask everyone to look at this street map. Look at it right here. As I mentioned, the incident took place. Why am I sound like Lord Von Zix? As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, Sunshine, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Riot Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused who stabbed in the back. Interesting. Okay. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, but she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case, while with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the court documents as evidence, if you please.
The case file has been entered to the court record. Huh. Now we know more about that. What of the weapon that was used? Sir! Oh my god, my voice. I'm losing my voice. Why am I recording today? Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back, Sunshine. Sorry, I have to say Sunshine because I can't get his voice back. I don't know why. Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scragged-looking Sosuke-san, I suppose.
A common or garden-like jackknife, I would say rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence.
The jackknife has been entered to the court record. Jackknife, a large, commonplace folding knife. It was found lodged in the victim's back.
Now then, what do we know about the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what we can tell by looking by the woman's possessions, it seems like she's the poor student herself. Hard to imagine that she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord.
I see. Well, in that case, are we looking for some sort of deep-seated resentment toward the victim?
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from the visiting second-hand bookshop, the defendant, Mr. Natsumi, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim. Yes! What do you mean, yes? If theft and grievance had been ruled out as a motive, what reason could Mr. Natsumi possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Holy shit! Hooray! Forgive the discourtesy for flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. I'm covered with wine! What the fuck? Vine? Wine. But your words have soured its hollow baguette. But it's you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Oh, we're gonna testify him. Okay, cross-examine him. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. I can't read it better. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, he says. Witness's testimony, alright. Let's get down to it. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering the belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought. He was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out with who the books belonged to, and he found the bloke to arrest him. Well, you didn't find him. It was Herlock Sholmes.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident.
Okay, let's see what this is. 3 books! 3 books? Alright, okay, 1, 2, 3. 3 books on it.
Yes, I can clearly see the books into which you are referring. I'll take the photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
The crime scene photograph has been entered to the court record. Crime scene photograph. A photograph of the scene taken by the policeman just after the incident occurred. A large knife can be seen thrust into the victim's back.
You Nipponese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
Well, Forgive me, Lord Von Zix, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it. What are you doing, Mr. Sato?
Do one.
Mr. Natsumi has admitted to playing some sort of part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that you mention it, when we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened.
As I was walking along the crusted pavement, I could make out a solo silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman, wearing a green overcoat she was, and just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings. A green overcoat. Green overcoat. Well, that's exactly what the woman was in the print is wearing. Oh my, a photographic print of in full color. What will the world come up with next? Nothing else! Maybe video evidence, but that's about it. The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled from the scene of a terrifying incident. He does not mean that does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. It does! There was nobody else there at that time. Just the two of them. The victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else. There was nobody else who could possibly have stabbed a woman. And a fact that the accursed concedes.
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal console. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I had to use the cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. It is our only chance. Our only chance to find out more about the truth. But I don't think there's anything for us to be like, hey, I think you're wrong about this. Because, yeah. So it kind of seems like there are 3 books. There's a bag and a knife in their back. And we're kind of speculating that the woman was right here, walking, and that's Mr. Natsumi behind, stabbed her in the back. Okay. By the way, it's not going to make sense later. Anyways, the books that he got, some of the 2 shillings tendered to the receipt of the picture of Monsieur Lecoeur, whatever that is, the meal Gabaru, whatever, contemporary yearnings. Okay. And the case file. A file containing the overview of the case and the details about the victim. She was found with a knife in her back and is currently in hospital, yet to regain consciousness. This details young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound in the back. Victim all agree, female, stout build, early 20s, but how come people don't think it's her though? That's weird. Location, pavement of the Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer, Rolly Beat. Additional notes. The victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant has been seen running away by reporting the F officer and was successfully arrested the following day. With the help of Sherlock Sholmes, great for him, I guess. Anyways, let's see the knife, if we can open it. No wonder she didn't die, the knife is chipped. What the hell? Oh, look here, Mr. Naruto, just at the tip. The small piece of the blade appears to be missing. You're right. Well spotted, Mrs. Sato. I wonder what could have happened to it. Yes, you don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you? Oh dear, I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful. Well, here's the thing. The doctors would have removed it by now. Weird. I wonder where the tip then go. Alright, as I said. Yeah, hold it, what did you say? A light fog, you say?
Light for London. Light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street at once. Not much farther, though.
It's light, is it? Really?
On this part, yes. Not something I expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course.
I've read that London is famous for its fog, but in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance.
How quaint. Yes, well, it's nothing something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate.
I see.
At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can't even see your own hand at the end of your arm. Indeed. The other day, I was very nearly trampled by the horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling.
This is at the sun, and I could definitely remember to stop, look, and listen.
However, on the day of the concerns, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused.
Interesting.
Visibly.
Okay, whatever. And we're gonna... Oh, what the fuck? I was gonna press this one. What the hell? So what do you have to say on this one? How are you able to state with any certainty?
Quite simply, my learned friend, because that is what the witnesses into this crime had told us.
Ah yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. I wonder who these witnesses are, by the way, because we haven't really talked about it, only other than the Rolly Beat, I guess. That's the name. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard.
That is correct, ma'am.
What the fuck was that? That we must hear their testimony.
The prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary.
But, wait a minute! At 5 o'clock in the afternoon of the middle of the winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen.
I'm unaware of the situation of your tiny island in the east. In the east, I mean. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas street lights.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
The prosecution believes that there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Quite, here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
Which means we really need to hear those witnesses' statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to...
It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. He's taking a long time, I swear. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind, subsequently collapsed on the pavement.
Behold it, man! From behind, you say?
That's right, as you can see from this print.
He has been stabbed from behind.
Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. And you say this woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition, comatose no less.
I'm afraid, my lord, yes. And she's being treated at Bart's. I was hopeful that she'd come around before the trial started so I could take a statement. But it wasn't to be.
Yes, that's indeed a pity. I would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events.
Lucky is on your client's side, it seems.
What if she was alive? Let's say alive. What if she was no longer comatose, and then ended up saying, "Oh yeah, that wasn't that man. I just got stabbed from something else, like that." On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky.
Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly white eyes, I'm afraid. He was right now scattering his belongings all over the floor.
Hold it! Alright, let me see the books. Mr. Natsumi's belongings.
I think you'll find it all there in the photographic print of the crime scene.
3 books, though.
Yes, the 3 books on the floor.
That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could easily have carried all 3 books in one hand. Which means he has the other hand to stab the knife. His other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example.
He's very clever, isn't he?
What do you mean?
He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsumi had his hands full with his books. He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back?
That must be what happened, my lord, yes.
Okay, but here's the thing. If he really had the books on one hand, the knife on the other, stabbed the woman, why leave the books there? Obviously, if you're gonna... a murderer won't leave a trace behind. Not even the knife. So, why? And he clearly didn't know, and he did clearly stated that he didn't know there were other people around. So, it just doesn't make sense why he had to leave his knife and also the books there. He could have just taken it with him still. Huh. It's so weird. Plus, the house is so close to where he lives. His house is so close to the area. So, he didn't really need to drop it unless he dropped everything because he got scared of what happened. It makes no sense for why they think it's him. Hold it! The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yeah, so I understand. A shop full of Old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The Baroque's room was stacked with floor to ceiling with those musty old books.
That's so weird how he got it 2 weeks, by the way. All the books like that. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is a place here, Bourbon Books.
What's the place called, though? Is it really Bourbon Books?
It's your books, though.
Wait a minute. Huh?
A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Meerschaum Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in the lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Something like this.
The local map's information has been updated to correctly. That doesn't make sense.
Yes, I concur with the conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from a particular shop.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance. Yes, I agree. The most important point the inspector just made being the bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Would you kindly add the names of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes! It could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I can see it being any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
Could that man be any more sardonic? What does that mean, by the way? Alright, so Bourbon Books. I know I could press more, but I'm not trying to waste anyone's time. We're just gonna do this, since it is your books. Not Bourbon Books. If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident, and the details of the purchase of the 3 second-hand books.
And you found that in the accursed room, did you?
Accused's room, never mind. Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name on the shop printed on it.
Go on.
This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your Books? Y-O-R-E, I presume. I've been there. I get my books over there too.
Yes, my lord. So, Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books in a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon.
Huh? What?
Inspector, did you know of this other bookshop?
Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that. Well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, well, what difference it makes? Wherever the man purchased his musty tombs, it makes no difference in the final analysis. I disagree. I mean, after all, have the street map here, if that might be of help. Oh, yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Could that be true?
My, it rather depends on where the other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility. Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right.
Inspector Gregson, where is the Your Books establishment?
Well, obviously, we looked into that. It turns out that the Your Books is just here next to the corner of Meerschuan Street, going east.
Alright, the local maps information has been updated to the court record. We got more areas, then. And there you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh.
You idiot, huh?
You thought you were doing something smart. My little Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown. And the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus. You put that glass down now, and I'll put it down for you. Ooh, didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming from home from your books instead of urban books. It would have taken longer, though. There's no doubt he would still have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Idiot. Allow me to reiterate from my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchased the musty tools, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Oh well. I guess we don't know.
As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What did I say? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon, terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't give up. What do you mean? The prosecution's assertion is correct. The members of the jury very well may decide that Mr. Natsumi is guilty. She's absolutely right. You must think. You must consider the assertion just put forward the prosecution very, very carefully. They claim Sosuke-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from your books, but let's raise an objection. The assertion that just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, Consul.
Yes, my lord, you can see what I mean on this map. What is this bullshit right here? When returning to your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. Yeah, exactly. You could just go around there. The defendant used these streets. Look what happens. He arrives back to his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand. Wait, talking back to a clown's a fool's errand? Oh, you're doing that. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what commonly referred to as the long way round. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, it could be his first time being there. Oh, and never mind, he's a regular. But it could be that he doesn't know too much of the street, and maybe it is his first time being like, I don't know, let's take the street. We might get home safer and faster. Who knows? The answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, you don't know him. You don't know him at all. The accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings, and is obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
But, yes, I got it! Obviously, we must ask the man himself, and ask Mr. Natsumi which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's alright. As I said, the Brook seems to have spent his time outside wandering aimlessly. For me to be... That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. I don't believe this! KO. I thank you, my lone friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what you say? What say you, insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... You're saying, hold it. Oh wow, he got angry. I agree with Rule 16. Wholeheartedly, and in every way, in every way. What? I don't believe it. Does this mean? We members of the jury are completely convinced now.
Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Oh shit, that's how she sounds like? I'm so sorry. Is that how you sound like, really? Huh. Oh no, he doesn't sound like he had that voice. I thought he was like tough and masculine or whatever. Oh no. Oh well. Okay. Judge a book by its cover, I guess.
It would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous.
Dot 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 dot. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen of the country admirably. Where's the Naruto? Don't worry, Naruto. We still have it. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of the scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. Those are the eyes of the Cory, not yet willing to give up and die. Really? Those eyes? Okay, now those eyes are. So I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written to antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative, yeah, I said it right, to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses.
Very well, Counsel. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with the Nipponese whippersnapper and his uncle's refusal to throw in his alley. In his alley? What the hell? Alley? Really?
Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have to determine the defendant to be guilty.